Hello, friends, and welcome back to the VHS Doom podcast. As always, we are so glad that you're joining us for another episode. Today, we have an extreme content warning for you. We wanted to take a minute before we begin this episode to make you all aware that the film we are covering this week, which is Irreversible by Gaspar Noe, includes extremely violent scenes of rape, sexual assault, violence against women, violence and slurs used against the queer, gay, and trans communities, as well as very heavy racist content. Due to the extreme nature of this film, we will be changing the format of our show today. We will cover our usual introductions, what we watched, etc., and then we will move right into the movies that we're going to send you home with this week. To be completely honest, we will not be doing any of our typical character bits or silly commercials because after Mikey and I both watched this film within the last 24 hours, we frankly do not feel funny or lighthearted enough to write the silly content that we typically do. We will catch up with our regular cast of characters again next week. After this first segment of the show, we will then provide you with an additional content warning and enter a short intermission. If you choose to leave at that time, please know that we truly appreciate you and that you are a wonderful listener despite not listening to the rest of the show. We completely understand that the content of Irreversible is not for everyone. Frankly, I will never watch this film again, but I think it is important for us to say why. Once again, thank you for joining us, and let's get started.
What's up? Who's next? Huh? How about it? Who wants some?
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Well, hello, friends, and welcome back to the VHS Doom podcast and rental store. As always, we are so glad that you're joining us for another episode. Hello. Thanks for joining us again this week. We wanted to pre-apologize if there's a lack of energy or enthusiasm on this episode as we dove headfirst into what I think may be one of the hardest to watch films I've ever pressed play on in my own home. Irreversible. But as always, I'm joined this week by my wonderful co-host, Mikey Mutant. What's up, buddy?
Oh, I apologize to everyone for this episode.
It's all right. It's all right, buddy. Hey, you know what? These films exist. We're a rental store. We carry them, so we'll tell you about them. But we're going to give you the option to listen if you want. Mm-hmm. So that being said, as we announced last week, we now have a Patreon, which is very cool. And after this week, we've decided that any future episodes of this extreme nature will go live on Patreon rather than on our Spotify and Apple Podcasts platform. Just because if you want to listen to this kind of stuff, you can go find it. And it won't just pop up in your normal feed. We tend to like to keep the store fun and lighthearted and funny, but we will offer our opinions on some intense content matter sometimes. So that's where that is going to live now, just FYI. We truly hope all of you enjoyed last week's episode where we did a deep dive into another of Gaspar Noé's ridiculous mindfucks, Climax.
Honestly, I feel like it's a more palatable movie, the last one.
Oh, yeah. Climax was way more palatable. It was intense. It pushed you. You got to some weird spots, but it was nothing like this. So that film took us into the bowels of hell and back again.
And this didn't take us out of it.
And for some reason, my co-host here wanted to do it again, but way fucking worse. Oh, why'd you do that, Mikey?
Okay, so last time I saw this movie was like 10 years ago.
Okay.
And it's one of those movies that I thought maybe it was like Martyrs. Oh, if we do like a show on it, it won't be that bad. But after watching this maybe like 2 hours ago before we recorded,
Jesus
I
Christ.
texted Dylan saying maybe we should just do a break room episode because this is too much for our show. And I felt like I needed to take several showers after it.
I know. Yeah. So Mikey did text me that, and we discussed that, but I didn't think that was the best course of action because films such as these exist in the world. And I think that we offer some unique perspectives, and we have some unique opinions, and we're not just going to look at this and be shocked. We're going to tell you what's fucked about it or what we think. But we also wanted to give you the option to leave before we do that. So, as I said in the content warning before the show, we're going to change up the format of the show to allow those who would like to leave before we get started. So that's okay. No break room. We're not going to skip out on our reviews because this is a rental store and we have movies of all types. Ask Pamela Voorhees. She's the naughty backroom girl. She has a lot of films back there that we'll never cover on this show. But this one happened to be in the front of house. So, yeah, we're going to talk about it. So that's that. Sorry again, no character development this week. You're not going to hear from any of our regulars. Hugh's staying locked in the closet.
They were all scared.
Balthy's off for the day. I'm saving the letter from Ice Pick for next week or the week after that she sent us. Because I don't think it would be very respectful to go through all of that considering the content of this film. But what we will do is we're going to give you some updates from some of our listeners. We have some really great listeners who have really started being very interactive with the show. We appreciate all of them. So I just kind of wanted to Mikey give you a couple updates from people that I have talked to on whether it be Instagram or Facebook or whatever. So one of those is a really cool guy whose name is Alfonso. So Alfonso reached out to us way when we did the Candyman episode, and he was the one who mentioned that the world of Candyman and the world of Child's Play and the cinematography looked super similar. So he heard us, give him the shout out, and he reached out, which was really cool. So he said a big thank you on that. He said, "Thank you for giving a shout out for the question. I loved it and your thoughtful responses. And yes, Trevor was a total D-bag," which is true. Fuck that guy. Trevor was the worst husband in the world.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then, he threw in another comment. He's like, it just popped in my head that the girl Trevor was with at the end, which was the student that he was fucking, probably got arrested for the murder of Trevor. And I was like, oh, goddamn. Yeah, you're right. She probably
really
did.
go into that.
Yeah, so Trevor ruined not one, but 2 lives for sure. Wild. What a fucking dick. Yeah, she was wielding the knife. He even sent a screenshot of the scene where she finds Trevor dead in the bathroom and she has the kitchen knife in her hand like that. So yeah, Alfonso, thanks, dude, for following up. So that's really cool. Also, he did mention that he noticed we're out of Richmond. And he asked if we were familiar with the Plug It Up podcast, which I've shouted out on this show a couple times. Caitlin is the host over there. So he is a friend of Caitlin and that Plug It Up podcast. So, hey, cool, man. Yes, we love Plug It Up. And Caitlin's awesome. I love listening to that show. So, again, Alfonso, thanks so much, dude, for the interaction. We appreciate you. And thank you for being a awesome listener. And then I had one more. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Kind of thing. I will say I'm really excited for next week and working with the Mutant City Horror guys.
Oh, bro, that's going to be awesome.
You guys are going to be like really happy with the movie we chose. It's like more lighthearted than this, obviously.
Yeah, of course. And we'll announce it at the end of today's episode. Actually, we'll announce it before we jump into our review of Irreversible. That way, if you want to leave, you'll know what we're going to talk about. So Okay. Also, I think I'm going to start burping so much in the mic. I feel like that can't be the best. When I'm listening back to these episodes and I'm burping in my own ear, I'm like, God damn it.
I
So
always
sorry,
mute my
guys.
shit when that happens. When I do that.
I'm going to try to avoid that or cut those out in the future. Sorry, guys. Maybe that's the last burp you'll ever hear on the show. What the fuck?
This movie scares me
Anyway,
too much.
what? Yeah, this movie's changed me fundamentally. No more burps. Okay, so next, just one more follow up from Doug. Now, Doug is an awesome guy. Doug reached out to us and suggested that we cover Climax, which was a very intense film. We're recording actually on Friday, so it'll be out tomorrow. I know, Mikey, you haven't heard the finished product yet, but it's a good episode. It's a good episode. That's a lot of fun. And it's intense as well. We go into a lot of intensity with that film as well. Not quite as much as this one, but yeah. So Doug, thank you so much for that recommendation. And Doug did reach out again. We haven't put out the episode, so he hasn't heard it yet, but I did want to read his comment. He said, quote, after hearing you were moving my Gaspar Noe movie suggestion into the very next episode, I knew I had to say thanks, not just for reviewing the movie, which I imagine was challenging, but because I know you guys put thought into your reviews. You're not going to rehash the IMDb page, which is true. We don't do that, or read aloud from the Wikipedia entry. We like to put our own spin on things. It's true. So thanks for that. Now his thoughts on this from the initial scene, he says he was captivated by the choreography, but the practiced eye of this longtime cinema watcher forgot about the camera and the tricks necessary to pull off the long takes as I got dragged into this party gone to hell, which is very true. Once the movie finished, it continued to play in my head, and I wondered if I got the movie I deserved. Okay. If it wasn't the movie I wanted, what would that have been? Because it couldn't have been more horrific. Honestly, after watching Irreversible, Doug, I think that it could have been a little more horrific. And I think that Noe held himself back.
I think the more he goes through his filmography, it gets better, like content-wise. Because I Stand Alone is on the same level as Irreversible, in my opinion.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't remember really. I remember watching Enter the Void. I remember liking that one, but I don't remember if it's like as bad as Irreversible. Like not as bad as like a bad movie, but like the content being horrifying.
Okay, so that film, if we ever cover it, will show up on our Patreon. That will be behind a
probably
wall.
Like Love, and that one will probably show up on there if we do any more Gaspar Noe, which we probably will.
Yeah, for sure. Noe, don't get me wrong. Like Noe's movies are currently living rent free in my head. I posted that on Instagram the other day, and that's an accurate statement. Like they are there. Is that a good thing? I don't know. I think
Climax is one of my favorite movies now. That was a first time watch for me, honestly.
Yeah, Climax, like I said in the episode, whenever you guys hear it, it really was on the level of chaotic extreme, like Mother. For me, it was an intense overall experience, like almost like a primal experience.
Yeah.
You know, so. I don't know where I was going with that.
I think I like it a lot because of the influence he used for that movie in general.
Yeah, it was a lot. But I'll finish up Doug's comment here. He says, for the first time in such a movie, I wasn't yelling, quote, don't open the door, or, quote, the killer's in the back seat, for fear of losing a cast member. Instead, I actively didn't want characters to walk past an electrical room because I couldn't take the screams of psychosis from within the space, which is an accurate statement.
I wanted them to open the door and get Tito out.
That right? Or either stay away from the room so we don't hear it, or get him the F out of there, right? Like it's like a... Yeah, I get that. He says he also thought quite a bit about the direct references to Salo, Possession, Dawn of the Dead, Suspiria, and Kenneth Anger.
Salo is definitely going to be on our Patreon once we do that.
Yeah, 100,000%. That Noe name checked during the interview section.
Yeah, definitely. And it was on the side of the panel of the TV too, the VHS tapes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then he says next rewatch, he's going to jot down the other references to figure them all out as well for himself. But he says, thanks again as a way of showing my appreciation. Oh my God, he ordered 3 shirts from the fucking store.
yeah.
Oh, that's
What did he order?
cool.
He's here
Nice.
now.
Yeah, I think it was a Romero shirt. I saw an order come in. I didn't know it was him. But he said he's going to wear them to the Pittsburgh Horror Realm Con next month so he can plug our show. That's really fucking cool, Doug. You're the fucking man, bro. Thanks for doing that.
He's some awesome listeners.
Yeah. I'm not going to say, Doug, that you led us down the path to Irreversible, but
no, that was me.
My lovely co-host here was so excited. So okay.
It wasn't that.
No, he wasn't. You weren't. I think what you said was, oh man, I thought we would do Irreversible first. So I think in your head you wanted Irreversible before Climax, which makes sense.
Yeah, because
it's his first film.
Well, it's his second, I think, because I think I Stand Alone is his first.
Oh, is it? I thought Irreversible was his debut. Okay.
Yeah, I Stand Alone's from 98 and Irreversible from 2002.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Did you have any updates from anybody from Twitter?
Like asking people?
Yeah, just if there's anybody interacting with us or something.
Well, yeah, I was talking to Tony from the band Dead Heat. We were just talking about movies in general. I haven't asked him. I want to ask him to go be on the show soon. Tangents of Horror. They're always shouting us out. I'm always talking to them about different kinds of movies and stuff. And Dissect That Film. They thanked us for. I was shouting them out and on our Twitter, just like for the new episode and stuff.
Nice. Okay.
I like to share. I don't know.
Awesome.
I think our community as like podcasters in general. The more of us there are, I always tell you this. There's like more choices. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think of it as a competition. I think everybody's like equal, and I like more podcasts being out, and like a lot of them are doing a lot of really good job. Like another one would be Doom Generation, which I hope we can get those 2 girls on the show. That'd be great.
Oh yeah, you know what, Mike? So Bearded Villain, Mike, I think reached out to them, and they said that they're currently like on a backlog, or like they are behind on their own show, so they're not doing any collabs at the moment or for a little while. But hopefully that they get caught up and they want to do that. That'd be really cool. Yeah, no, that's I get that shit. When we get into like March, we're gonna have to start doing like double recording sessions for us both to get ahead. I'm not gonna say, well, for me it's because of the kiddo, but on the way, but whatever. And yeah. So anyway, cool. Those are our updates. That's our community member board. Thank you all so much for being here and checking in. So also, please subscribe wherever you're listening to the podcast. If you haven't already, hit the little subscribe button. You're going to get notification when the show comes out. And for those of you who have never heard me say this, the episodes do typically come out midnight, 11:50 on Friday to midnight on Saturday. So you get a little bit of an early show if you're a late, up late kind of person. So just FYI. I don't say that often because I can't always follow through on that, but most of the time that's when they pop up. So that's pretty cool. But if you subscribe, you'll get notifications on that. Also, please click the stars. We have like, I don't know, over 40, almost 50 subscribers, something like that. It's between 40 and 50. And we only have 9 ratings on Spotify. So if you got the time and you can just open it up real quick and click the stars, that'd be cool. That'd be awesome. We appreciate you doing that. You guys are great. The only reason we ask you to do that is because it helps the show grow. So Spotify, specifically, Spotify does impression searches and like will display the show for people who are interested in horror based on the amount of reviews that you get and listens that you get and subscribers that you have. So when we went from like 20 to 40 subscribers, our Spotify impressions went from like 2,000 to like 4,000. So it doubled. So they show our show to more people. And we want this community to grow. That way we can all continue to have new fun content. And Yeah, I mean, shit. The more people we have following the show, the more stuff we can do, the more groups we can create. Shit, we can have like some admins and create like a fucking
Discord.
VHS Doom, I don't know, page on Tumblr. I'm just kidding. That doesn't exist anymore. But
Well,
you
it
know,
does. Tumblr exists.
does it?
Though. Yeah, I have
I
an
thought
account.
they
I
shut
just
it
don't use it
down.
anymore. It's kind of dead.
Oh, you know what it was? They took porn off of it. That's why everybody left.
Yep, porn, and then
that?
they started banning horror gifs because it was like violence. So like one of my accounts got banned because I used to post like horror gifs because I was like a horror Tumblr account. Yeah.
Got you. Yeah. So, what I was thinking actually was Reddit. I mean, and shit, if there's somebody who wants to moderate a fucking Facebook group, that'd be cool. Because I don't have time for that. But
server.
or Discord or whatever, that'd be awesome. So anyway, getting more people into the loop, we can do more stuff like that. And for those of you who are longtime listeners, if you want to get involved in the show, let us know. You can shoot us a DM on any of our social medias if you want to, or you can shoot us an email at vhsdoom@gmail.com. Now, speaking of that, whether you're a band, an actor, director, you are an indie filmmaker of any sort, you're a podcast, whatever. Shoot us an email, shoot us a line. We want to talk to you. Mikey, I think Mike is going to have his cousin meet with me either today or Sunday. His cousin's a comic book artist with an independent label.
Oh, cool.
So we might be able to get him on and maybe talk about a film. He does horror inspired comics. So pretty cool stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But
VHS Doom comic.
Right? That'd be wild. Well, so Mike was like, I'm going to try to get him to draw out your characters. I'm like, holy shit. If I could see Hugh Janus in real life, I would die. But anyway, yeah. So also check out the merch store, vhsdoom.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom. You'll see a link to the merch store if you guys want to check it out. They're pretty cool shirts. And that's that. All right, dude. How have you fucking been, man?
I've been good. I don't know. Watched a couple movies this week. Hang out with my family. The usual. How are you doing?
Good, man. How's Sammy doing?
He's good. He's in school right now. He's getting so big, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really obsessed with like superheroes and Godzilla and dinosaurs,
Nice. The classic stuff.
Yeah, he was running around yesterday in his little Hulk mask that we got him for Christmas and like a little cape he has. And he was saying he was Hulk. And then when he took off the mask, he kept saying he was Superman. It was funny. Those like little toys are called Gujitsu toys. Like they're like kind of like Stretch Armstrong kind of things. I can't see anything. It's blurry.
Oh, yours is blurry too. That's weird. It's Ari in her superhero costume that we got her too.
That's cute.
Cool. Well, what'd you watch, dude?
All right. So I watched, I think I talked about this a while ago. I watched Street Law from Enzo Castellari.
Okay.
It stars Franco Nero. You guys probably know him from the original Django. Also stars Barbara Bach. She's been in a lot of like Italian horror and like other kinds of stuff. So this is kind of reminds me of Death Wish. An engineer seeks a vigilante justice against gangsters as he was taken hostage in a bank. It's very interesting. He's trying to take down like these like gangsters, and it's like a cat and mouse game. It's really good. It's from 1974. It's one of those Polizio Tecci movies from Italy. The next one was another Polizio Tecci movie starring Holmet Berger and Marissa Mel. It's Beast with a Gun, but I know this movie influenced the movie Jackie Brown.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's okay. So, it's also called Mad Dog Killer. That's the American name of it. In Italy, it escapes the serial killer Nanni Vitali and his henchmen terrorize the populace, seeking revenge against those who's responsible for his incarceration. It's like another one of those crime movies from Italy. It's really fun.
Okay.
From 1977.
Nice. Awesome.
I did start watching last night the slasher movie Silent Scream, but I kind of passed out halfway through.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
I didn't want to really dive into that because I saw it a long time ago and I was going to do a rewatch for the show, but I kind of passed out last night early.
No, I get it. No worries. Yeah. So it's actually been kind of a short period between our last recording and this one. We usually have an extra day.
Yeah.
And I feel like Friday night, I usually have time to watch something extra. So I'm a little short on time as well. So I get it.
Sorry,
yeah. All right, cool. Well, so I've been good. life's been really busy with work and also just like personal stuff. So Aria's got when we went to, I think I told you about this, when we went to California, we were in like the redwood forest and she fell down in the parking lot and busted her tooth. So that tooth got infected.
Oh no.
Finally, like they said, it might heal, it might get infected, it might be fine.
About this. It's an abscess, right?
Yeah, so she had a little abscess in there. They had to get her on antibiotics. Well, that tooth's got to come out. So it's been kind of a stressful transition because we stopped her bottles a while back. And then we've been slower to stop her binky usage, like her pacifiers, because she's been doing really well with the bottles. But with her tooth injury, it was actually kind of helpful to have her binky in at night to keep her tooth positioned.
Sammy never liked the binky at all.
That's good. It's kind of a hard thing once they get used to it. So last night was the first night we couldn't have her. We needed to transition her off of using the binky because after she gets the tooth pulled, which is on Monday, then she's not allowed to use it anymore. And she can't use any straws or anything like that for a while it heals up. So we had to figure out how to get the binky done. And Carla came up with a really cool idea. It was the binky fairy. So for those of you who may have kids and need help or like need creative ideas on how to get your kids to give them up, some people cut them, which is kind of like, they're just not useful anymore. So the kids might throw them away. I think when I was a kid, I got made fun of by my uncle until he was like, "You're a baby." And I just threw it in the trash because I was spiteful. I was like, "Fuck you." But Ari, we did something which is much more like healthy, and we did the binky fairy. So last night she had to go gather up all of her pacifiers. Like Carla put them around the house and they went and they picked them all up. And she said, okay, now we're going to put them in a bag and we're going to leave them outside of your door for the binky fairy. And the binky fairy is going to take your binkies and they'll be gone, but they're going to leave you a really cool thing. Who knows what it could be? And Carla had asked her like a few days ago, like what kind of thing she might want, or like, oh, what do you like? So we got her a little, like a bear that she really wanted, and this little like puffer fish because she's into like, like the ocean creatures. So this morning she woke up and got to see her presents, and she was so excited. So that actually seems to work really well. We'll see tonight how she does with that, but I think we're good there. So that's personal life stuff. Wild, fun, and my kid's growing up so fucking fast. It's insane.
I really mean time flies.
It really does. Yeah. So what did I watch? So this is a weird one. So I watched two things. One is very short, and it's more of a promotional thing. I want to promote this person because they're an independent filmmaker who's been kind of talking with us lately. So I watched a short film called Shoes, like a pair of shoes by James Watchin from 2023. That's Toothbrain Productions on Instagram. I've mentioned them several times on the show, and our shout outs.
I think that I want to turn into a sticker, that image for us.
They made, they did. They made that graphic for us. So they have another short film in production, which I think might still be using funding for production capital. So you can go check it out. I want to say they're on. Oh shoot! What's the main crowdfunding website?
GoFundMe.
Yeah, GoFundMe. That's it. I think they're there, Toothbrain Productions, and the film is called The D Word. So that's their new upcoming short film. But Shoes was a lot of fun, man. It's only a couple minutes long. You can find it on a website that's called cubestream.com. Now, I had never heard of CubeStream before, but it's a very cool website. Hey, CubeStream, promote the show or whatever, sponsor the show. But they have a lot of independent films. People can upload their independent films on CubeStream, and then you can rent them from the directors. So I rented Shoes. I think it was only like $1.50 or something like that, which goes directly into the director's pocket.
That's awesome.
Very, very fucking cool.
We need more of that kind of things, I feel like.
We do. Like in the streaming age, you should be able to support directors that you like, and you shouldn't be confined to what's on fucking Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever. So cubestream.com, go check it out. And CubeStream, hey, sponsor the pod or whatever. Shoot us a shout out or
Sponsor
something.
Bravo for us.
Yeah, fuck. But they have movies of all sorts of lengths, and some really cool looking films. And I think you can watch the previews for all of them and everything before you rent them. So yeah. But yeah, so James Watkin, Watjen. I want to say, I hope
It looks
I'm
like
pronouncing
Watjen.
that right. Yeah, Watjen. Dude, if you're listening in, I mispronounce everybody's name, so sorry about that.
So do
But,
I. Sorry.
yeah, go check out Shoes from 2023. Support Toothbrain Productions, and look out for their new film called The D Word short film coming out. Shoes was fun, man. It's about like a possessed pair of shoes that comes after and kills a father and son duo.
Is that why you chose the next one you're going to talk about?
No, the next one I talked about, Tubi. God damn it. Sponsor the fucking podcast and stop recommending such wild ass shit to me. No, I'm kidding. Never stop recommending.
Tubi's trying to replace me.
This shit. Tubi is like, hey, can I be your new co-host on the podcast? And I'm like, I don't think so, man. So this next movie is called Zombie Ass, Toilet of the Dead from 2011, which I didn't even write down the fucking director. I was just laughing so hard typing that fucking title out. So yes, Zombie Ass, Toilet of the Dead is a Japanese film that's directed by Noboru Iguchi.
That was perfect. Actually.
It is. What's that?
I'm sorry, my voice cracked. That was actually perfect.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. You know what? I think I've mentioned this once before. I did a podcast before this called the Doombox Podcast, and I did an episode on Super Mario. So I did a lot of Japanese name pronunciation through Google to make sure I was saying things correctly.
Oh, he directed another movie, a couple movies I like a lot.
Nice. Yeah, my Japanese is a little more on point than my other languages.
Have you ever seen Machine Girl?
No, that's on the list though. I have that on my to-be list.
Dead Sushi
actually.
is another one too you should watch. Oh,
nice.
Oh, he also did Robo Geisha. Okay, I love all of his movies. Then, yeah,
bro. Yeah. So Zombie Ass, Toilet of the Dead is fucking insane. Mm-hmm. The basic plot premise is that there's a parasite that is kind of flourishing in a remote area of Japan, kind of outside of Tokyo, I guess. These friends go to a river. I guess they're going to spend the day in the wilderness, and one girl is particularly looking for a parasite to eat so she can get thin to be like a model, which is ridiculous. So a guy cuts a parasite out of a fish and lets her eat. She swallows it whole. I was about to vomit at that part. Cut a little farther ahead, and you find out that this entire town, this entire small village has been infected with these parasites, which eat your brain and turn you into a zombie. But the title of Zombie Ass, Toilet of the Dead, comes from when you discover this town filled with zombies. The first one pops straight out of an outhouse toilet and literally grabs a girl's butt as she's trying to shit out a parasite from her own butt. So it's fucking insane if that's not enough details
His other
for
movies
you
are
already.
insane, but not as much as insane as that one.
Holy shit. There is a flying parasite like a mile in the sky battle scene at the end. The main character is actually she's pretty badass. Megumi, I want to say, or Maki, I can't remember. Might have been Maki. Asana Mamoru. But yeah, she was really good. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And the film just goes absolutely fucking nuts. Yeah, check it out. Zombie Ass, Toilet of the Dead, 2011, by Noboru Iguchi. And that's what I watched. And that, friends, is what we did. Cool. So it's time to get you checked back in from last week. So last week, we sent you home with quite a fun list of films. I don't know if I'd say fun.
Oh, I think Night of the Museum is fun, but the other ones are horrifying.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to take back the word fun. We sent you home with a list of films that are kind of fucked, really.
Inside fun.
Or Christiane F. I don't think that's fun if you're a 14-year-old heroin addict. I don't think it's fun. So we sent you home
I
with
would say
Frontiers.
Frontiers would be fun because it's kind of like Texas Chainsaw mixed with like cannibal Nazis. Yeah, Nazis.
Okay. Yeah, so that was from 2007 by Xavier Hens or Jens, not sure. Christiane F. from 1981 by Uli Idil. That's out of Germany. We sent you home with Inside from 2007 by Alexandra Bustillo and Julian Maury. We sent you home with I Stand Alone from 1998 by Gaspar Noe,
I'm sorry,
which is
guys.
his first full-length film because Mikey hates you all. And lastly, we sent you home with Night at the Museum from 2006 by Sean Levy. Now, Mikey, this week, how's everything look? Did they return everything?
Yeah,
Did they not even want to keep these?
No, nobody wanted to keep them. Well, I saw a weird lady outside, but I'm not going to talk about that this time.
What? Okay, yeah. Let's ignore that this time around. Okay.
She wanted her
do the tape
videotape back?
Oh God. Okay. Is everything rewound at least?
No.
Nothing's rewound. Okay. But everything's here.
But everybody was kind. They didn't rewind though.
They were kind, but they didn't rewind. That's not the definition. The definition of kind is to rewind. Okay.
Well, I think
if
the
you didn't know
kindness is
that,
bringing it back.
you can fucking kick somebody right in the head, but as long as you rewind your VHSs, you're a kind person.
Yeah, let me get the fire extinguisher.
Why? What's the fuck is on fire, bro? Your dance moves?
Yeah, I'm still dancing out the climax.
Yeah, bro. I can't wait until you get to hear the midpoint show open. Why? So when I think about our show, we typically have a cold open, which is like, so we say hello and then we do some ridiculous ass shit and we say some ridiculous ass shit and then we're like, and go subscribe. That's like our cold open. And then I think of the post, like what happens with the movies is like the like midpoint show open into Insanity and the review, and that's always your bit. I always like those. So, but this last episode, when you hear it climax, you took some drugs, so it's going to be fucking wild for you. Anyway, yes. So that's it. Thanks for returning those. Thanks for almost doing everything right except rewinding them. That's more than you've done in weeks and weeks and months. Yeah, 45 episodes.
Almost a year at this point.
Right. Thank you for doing that, guys.
1 more month until it's a year. That's crazy.
That's wild, bro. It's wild. All right, cool. So now we're going to jump way ahead. This is typically where we'd press play and get into the episode, but we're going to go ahead and let you guys know what you're going home with today. So that way, if you want to jump off of this fucking insane train before we get going in the review, you can. All right, so grab your popcorn, grab your candies, and grab your sody pops if you're choosing to leave now, because this week you're going home with some dope-ass flicks. And they're all brain cleansers.
Stuff, honestly.
Yeah, so Mikey, I asked Mikey specifically to put together a list of brain cleanser, fun, stupid, ridiculous, whatever, but just easy to watch films. That way we can cleanse our minds of the bullshit that we watched this week. So first, we're sending you home with Arena from 1989 by Peter Manu. How do I say that? Manigan?
It looks like Manugian, I guess.
Manugan. Okay, cool. So in a huge space arena, fighters from all over the galaxy come to battle each other in hopes of claiming victory. While most warriors are various alien species, Steve Armstrong, played by Paul Satterfield, is a rarity. He's a human who aspires to compete in the games. Training with his friend, Shorty, played by Hamilton Camp, and encouraged by the lovely promoter Quinn, Steve has a shot at the Intergalactic Championship, but plenty of extraterrestrial brawlers are eager to take him down. Have fun with that. We're sending you home with Chopping Mall from 1986 by Jim Wynorski.
Yeah.
When a sentient robot goes on a killing spree, some teens fight for their lives while the robot's mad scientist creators try to stop the slaughter. Fun. We're sending you home with Puppet Master from 1989 by David Schmoller. God, these names are tough today. They really are. Okay, so Puppet Master is an American horror film series which focuses on a group of anthropomorphic puppets animated by an Egyptian spell, each equipped with its own unique and dangerous device, and are represented as heroes, anti-heroes, and antagonists. Oh, why do I have the franchise notes? Oh, well, whatever. It was created by Charles Band and Kenneth J. Hall. Go check it out and have fun.
So good.
We're also sending you home with Mountaintop Motel Massacre from 1983 by James McCullough Sr. A young woman is caught worshiping Satan by her mother in their remote motel, and she kills her. Interesting. Okay. Believing the ghost of her daughter is instructing her, the killer mother then decides to try to kill everyone who is staying at the motel that night.
Underrated slasher, in my opinion.
You know, that one's on Tubi. I haven't watched it, but it is actually on my list. And then lastly,
most of them might be on Tubi.
They probably are. They probably all are. Fucking sponsor the
But
pod.
Parent
Tubi.
Trap
God
is
damn
definitely
it.
on Disney Plus, I think.
Yeah, so the kids' movie this week is The Parent Trap from 1998 by Nancy Myers. Not the original. We're sending you home with the remake. In this update of the 1961 film, twins Annie and Hallie, I think it's Hallie, both played by Lindsay Lohan, are strangers. Yeah, sure. Until happenstance unites them. The preteen girls' divorced parents, Nick, who's played by Dennis Quaid, and Elizabeth, played by Natasha Richardson, are living on opposite sides of the Atlantic, each with one child. After they meet at a summer camp, American Hallie and British-raised Annie engineer an identity swap, giving both the chance to spend time with the parent that they've missed. If the scheme works, it might just make the family whole again. And those, friends, are the movies that we're sending you home with this week. Awesome. So, Mikey, why don't you go ahead and announce next week's episode?
Next week, we're doing an episode with the Mutant City Horror guys. We're going to be doing Basket Case from Frank Henenlotter. One of my favorite.
That's right.
I guess I would call it a horror comedy, but it's really good. And I like the aesthetic of old New York, too.
Fuck yeah, man. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Bill Lyle's character design is crazy, too.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
What's in the basket?
That's going to be a lot of fun. We're super excited to hang out with both Paul and Matt from Mutant City Horror. Those guys, you know, it's funny. I was texting back and forth with Paul recently, and he was like, "Bro, the similarities between our shows are pretty wild." Let me see what he said here. He said,
"No text he sent you."
Yeah, no, that one before was really great. But yeah, so our just like talking about the shows. He said, I'm listening to your New York Ripper episode, which was posted on June the 30th. You mentioned watching Bloody Birthday. He said, we posted our episode on Bloody Birthday on June the 26th. Also, you sent us home with A Blade in the Dark, and we did our episode on that in September. He's like, crazy how much similarity there is between the shows. So
that really is crazy.
Yeah, they
Their
do cover a lot of
Dark is really good, though. I will give it that.
Yeah, they cover a lot of the same content that we cover. I think it's just good taste across the board. I really do like those guys. I think on their last episode, I want to say Matt said we could be the East Coast Mutant City Horror. Well, I'm going to say they could be the West Coast VHS Doom if they want to open up a store. So just saying, you guys got to find a physical location. We could franchise, bros. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. So join us for that. Shout outs this week, man. I'm gonna throw mine out real quick. So this week I'm shouting out the Bearded Villain 83, who just keeps making fucking awesome content for us, man. A lot of the videos you guys are seeing on a lot of the videos you're seeing coming out on Instagram or social media in general are coming
I've been
from
posting
Bearded
on my
Villain.
Instagram too.
Yeah, he's been putting a lot of work into content. So thanks so much for that. I'm actually going to be recording some voiceovers for a cool new surprise advertisement. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it might be a little Bob Boyle coming out. Who
I
knows?
loved
We'll see.
his picture of you as Bob Ross and me as Scott Norton from WCW.
Yes, he photoshopped me as Bob Ross painting the VHS Doom logo, which is fucking awesome.
And he had me as Scott Norton, the wrestler.
I told him to make you Ralphus, and
I don't want to be Jericho's security guard. That guy was weird looking.
Bro, that was me. I'm sorry. I thought it was hilarious. But
No, I wasn't.
yeah. Also, I want to shout out Mutant City Horror again. Toothbrain Productions. Yeah, go check out their work, Shoes, and then also check out their work that's coming up on the D Word. And then lastly, Alfonso Zavala. Thanks so much for being an interactive listener, dude. We appreciate you. Mikey, who are you shouting out?
I'm going to shout out Tangents of Horror podcast, Dissect That Film podcast, and Film We Trust, and a Dune Generation podcast, and then my wife Katie and my son Sammy.
All right. So don't forget, friends, come on the podcast. If you have a project that you want to promote, email us at vhsdoom@gmail.com. And as always, twerk till it fucking hurts and twerk on the roof, motherfuckers. All right. So here's...
sucks.
That's super loud. You're going to have to go on mute in between talking, I guess. So anyway, thanks, bud. All right, friends, here's what we're going to do. Now we're going into our quick intermission. We're going to give you about 1 minute of intermission time. That way you can have time to decide if you would like to scroll forward in the track and continue listening to the show. Maybe we'll make it 30 seconds. I don't fucking know. Whatever. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. Going to give you a little intermission here. One more time, I'm going to give you the content warning. Okay, this week we are covering Gaspar Noe's Irreversible, which this is our extreme content warning. We are letting you know that it contains extremely violent scenes of rape and sexual assault, violence against women, violence and slurs against the queer, gay, and trans communities, as well as very heavy racist content. So make your choice. And if you're not sticking with us, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us here at VHS Doom. If you're sticking around, we'll see you in about 30 seconds.
Dardano Sacchetti. Ernesto Gastaldi, who does Gialli and Gialli. Dardano Sacchetti and Bertolenzi. By Umberto Lenzi.
All right, friends. Okay, so if you decided to stick around, let's go ahead and jump right into this. Mikey, you got the back of the box, bud. Okay. You want to read that?
I don't even want to repeat this. Events over a course of a traumatic night in Paris unfold in a reverse chronological order as a beautiful young Alex is brutally raped, beaten by a stranger in an underpass tunnel.
Okay, is that it?
Yeah. The back of the DVD is like a whole giant paragraph.
Okay.
I just figured to make it shorter because I don't know if the guy who's doing the work upstairs is going to make more noise.
Okay. All right. No problem. Thanks for doing that. Okay. All right. Let's jump right in, friends. So really quick, Irreversible is a 2002 French art thriller, is what it's classified as, which is written and directed by Gaspar Noe. It stars Monica Bellucci, Vincent Cassel, and Albert Dupontel. The plot depicts the events of a tragic night in Paris as two men attempt to avenge the brutal rape and beating of the woman that they love, played by Bellucci. This film is made up of a title sequence followed by 13 segments made to look like long takes. Each of these segments is either a continuous shot or a series of shots digitally composited to resemble a continuous shot. The story is told in reverse order, with each scene taking place chronologically before the one that precedes it. Theatrically released in France and the United Kingdom, as well as the United States, Irreversible competed for the Palme d'Or at the 2002 Cannes Film Festival and won the Bronze Horse at the Stockholm International Film Festival. Critical reception was mixed, with praise towards the performances of Noe's direction, but criticism towards its graphic portrayal of violence and rape.
I agree with Ebert on this, what he says about this movie.
I did too. American film critic Roger Ebert called Irreversible, quote, a movie so violent and cruel that most people will find it unwatchable. Okay, so a couple more cast and production crew notes. It was produced by Brahim Chiua, I hope I'm saying that right, and Vincent Castle. And the cinematography was by Benoit Debay and Gaspar Noe. It was edited by Noe, and the music was by Thomas Bangalter. The production companies were Le Cinéma de la Zone and Studio Canal, and it was distributed by Mars Distribution. Okay, so the box office was $5.8 million, and apparently his budget was $4.6 million. It doesn't seem like it would have a budget that high, but I guess Bellucci's a pretty big star.
What is that in American? Or like USD?
Oh, euros?
Yeah.
Euros to US? I don't know. It's a great question. Probably like $3. No, we're not joking around today. That's some monies. Okay.
I had a mute.
Sorry. I was gonna ask the Economist, but I'll leave it alone.
It's $4.
All righty. Oh, okay. That's $4. All right, good. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to read through the plot quickly. We're going to read through the entire abbreviated plot, and then we're going to talk notes. And I have my notes in chronological order. Mikey, I'm sure you do too. So we'll jump in with our notes after we get through the plot. Okay? And again, this film goes in reverse order. So, during a night in Paris, emergency personnel respond to an altercation at the Rectum, which is a gay BDSM club. Two men are taken outside the club, Marcus, who's being carried out on a stretcher, and Pierre, who's being arrested by the police. The next scene shows a volatile Marcus and a reluctant Pierre enter the Rectum in search of a suspected rapist known as Letania. Marcus then proceeds to get into a fight with a man that he suspects of being Letania, who ends up breaking his arm before attempting to rape him. Pierre comes to his rescue and beats the man to death with a nearby fire extinguisher as the man's companion watches in amusement. So brutal. As the film progresses, it's revealed that the two men were attempting to avenge the rape and near-fatal beating of Alex, who's Marcus's girlfriend, and Pierre's ex-girlfriend. Viewers discover that Alex had left a house party attended by both men due to Marcus's boorish behavior and walked home alone through a pedestrian underpass when she notices a transgender prostitute getting attacked by Letania, who turns out to be the companion of the man killed at the Rectum. Upon realizing he's been seen, Letania immediately turns his attention to Alex, anally raping her before savagely beating her into unconsciousness. After Marcus and Pierre discover Alex being taken away by paramedics, they encounter street criminals Morad and Lade? Not sure how to pronounce that.
I think it's Lade.
Okay. Who offer to help them find the culprit. The group tracks down Concha, the prostitute from before, through an ID she left at the scene. Concha identifies Letania as Alex's rapist, setting up the events at the Rectum. The last scenes of the film depict Alex, Marcus, and Pierre earlier in the day, where it is implied that Alex left the more reserved Pierre for the uninhibited Marcus because he couldn't satisfy her sexually, which the former still holds frustration over. The film then reveals that Alex had a dream of herself in a red tunnel and received a positive result on a pregnancy test she took at the start of the day. In the final scene, Alex is shown reading in the park before the film transitions to a strobe effect that ends with the message, quote, "Le temps détruit tout," I think, which stands for, or in translation is time destroys everything. Okay. Fuck. All right, Mikey. Beginning of the film or end of the film, technically. Do you have any notes leading through that that club?
When they made the movie, Monica Bellucci and Vincent Cassel were married. I thought their interaction towards the end of the movie, like right before she takes the pregnancy test and everything, was kind of cute.
Yeah,
But the whole
yeah.
everything else is reprehensible. When Pierre kills that guy, I read that they use CGI to make the wound look worse. Sorry, it's like hard to talk about this movie, I guess.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I found some of the themes really abhorrent in this movie.
Yeah.
It's well shot. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay. Let's go. So I kind of, if you're okay with it, I organized my notes chronologically.
Yeah, we can just talk about them, I guess.
Yeah, we can go like through each sequence as he did in reverse because that's how I wrote my notes. So we can do that, and then we can both talk on each bit. But so to begin, the reverse letters fucked up my head. So he starts with the credits again in this film at the end, and the letters are all mirrored. So the words are in the correct direction, but the letters are all mirrored. So that was really weird. It was hard for me to read a lot in that, but I was trying. But that really fucked my brain up. And I did say that Bro was trying to make me vomit with the opening camera work.
He did that with Climax too.
Yeah, so I mean, it literally is a film in reverse, right? So I feel like Noe does descend into hell in a lot of his
He was
films.
Influenced by Memento for this movie, from what I read.
So we start at that point. And I feel like in Climax, because we end at that point, it allows the viewer to descend with the characters in real time. But Irreversible does not allow you to make your way to that point to be able to put up with that type of filming. It starts you there. So it's unbelievably jarring because you're not prepared for what's happening. And it's just going left and right and up and down and left and right and up and down. And you haven't been, I feel like in a typical film, you've been worked up to that point. So you're ready for it, but you're not ready for it here. So that was very hard to watch.
I feel like the ending kind of had the same way where everything is like spinning around.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. And so he does have the line in the beginning as well. Time destroys all things. And then at the end, he also has time destroys everything. So he keeps that message clear from the beginning to the end, or the end to the beginning. Okay, so one thing that they start with, and this is, I feel like it gets so overshadowed by everything else that takes place in this film. But in the very beginning, there are two men in a bed smoking. One of them is naked, and one of them only has his pants on, and they're in very close proximity.
Enough to start the movie with.
And the conversation that they were having was, the older man says, "I was in the joint because I slept with my daughter," and the other man calls that the Western syndrome. I don't know what that means, but the other man says, "There's no bad deeds, just deeds." What the fuck kind of line is that, bro, to start a movie?
It kind of reminded me, the way they were talking kind of reminded me of those two guys in Climax when they were talking about like buttholes.
Yeah, sure.
The dialogue kind of felt like similar.
Yeah, kind of. It's, but I don't know what Gaspar Noé's philosophy is, or what his what his outlook on what type of philosophy that he believes in, or if he's an absurdist, or if he's what. But did you say buttholes?
I said nihilism. I said nihilism.
Gotcha. I thought you said buttholes, bro.
I was like, what the fuck? Like nihilism?
I don't know. Buttholism, maybe, but yeah, maybe it's nihilism. but the statement, that line is so dangerous. There are no bad deeds, just deeds. No, there are bad deeds. There are deeds that make you undesirable. And sleeping with your daughter, abusing a family member or anyone in general makes you an undesirable. And that is a fucked up thing. And if your philosophy is there are no bad deeds, just deeds, then
You're a
get
fucked
wrecked.
person. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wrote, what the fuck, bro?
I see
So
that.
anyway. Yeah. Okay, moving on. The club is called Rectum, which in the beginning I kind of chuckled about, but as they moved on, they then explain it's a gay club and da 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 da. And the line they say is, "Oh, they're always stirring up shit in Rectum." They talk a lot about ass fucking. They talk a lot about STDs. And it gets really chaotic here with the noises. So the ambulances in this scene, as they pull up and as they start to take Marcus and Pierre away from the club, are extremely noisy. So the sirens are extremely loud and grating. And then even inside of the ambulances, everything is going like it's really just trying to make you super uncomfortable at every sense, right? So visually, your auditory stimulation is through the roof. So that was just wild to me. And then the camera movement in general is super disorienting through the club as we finally get into it, because at this, like before we move into the club, we're watching them get wheeled out of the club or be arrested. And then when they go into the club, the camera movement is at close proximity with people, but just kind of going up and down and around and around. And so you really can't get your bearings of where you're at all. And then the noise inside of the club made me feel insane too, right? So the ambulance noise kind of he used the same that same sound, like dee doo dee doo, but like made it into a club track almost.
Yeah, that's the European sound for like those kind of for ambulances and like
right, exactly, yeah. So in the scene before, when they're leaving, that's the ambulance sound. But then when they cut back one scene and he's in the club, they use the same type of sound, but in a techno-y club way. So that was a lot. That was just a lot. Yeah.
Your next note.
So I put this note down. There's a lot of camera movement filler at this point, and I don't know how to feel about that. I don't think it adds to the artistry or the experience, but it definitely helps the anxiety, or helps increase anxiety and overwhelms the senses. So maybe that's his only point of doing that much camera work filler. It doesn't advance the story, though. It just makes you feel insane. You think that was his goal?
Probably, yeah.
Gotcha.
It definitely does seem like he was like trying to make you insane by watching it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so do you have any other notes you want to throw in up to this point?
I mean, you're pretty much saying everything I think about the movie. I don't know. I didn't really write notes down because I was really horrified by the whole movie.
I get it. There came a point where I was like, I was still like trying to take notes, but I'm like, I don't think I can do anything more. And that really came to the point. It was with Monica Bellucci's scene when we get there that after that, it was hard for me to write anything else. Okay. So in the club, there's a guy he finally runs into who knows who the Tania is. But he demands that, I think it was Marcus. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He demands that Marcus fist him first. So you have to fist me before I'll tell you who he is. And then Marcus tries to buy the guy a drink, so he'll tell him who the Latinia is, and then the guy doesn't want to tell him, and then unless he gets fisted, and then Marcus like threatens to hit him with a bottle. So I guess they end up directing him in the right way, but a lot of it was just nearly unwatchable. It's hard to keep your eyes on the screen with the way that it's being filmed. So he does find Latinia, but he finds two guys and he's not sure which one is which. So he starts to fight one of them, and the guy knocks him down, breaks his arm, and then starts to try to rape him. He pulls his pants down. The broken arm, I was like, fuck, because that was a good effect there. Holy shit. And then when Pierre comes in to save him and bashes this guy's head in with a fire extinguisher till there's no face left. But everyone around them in the club is saying, kill him, kill him. Like, how much head bashing can you do? Jesus fucking Christ. It was the note I wrote down.
I think at one point his body was just moving and he just kept hitting.
Yeah. And the fact that later on, like, we find this out, like I wrote this note later. Oh my God, they killed the wrong guy. Because you don't find that out until later, but they did. They killed the wrong friend. So the actual rapist is just there laughing about it. That was the most unfulfilling part of the entire movie later, is knowing, like, none of this mattered. And Pierre, who actually loved Alex, like actually loved her, not just like was into her sexually, like, is the one catching the murder rap on the wrong person. You know, that was all a lot. That was all a lot to deal with later. So Pierre's definitely catching the murder rap. Marcus gets off scot-free despite being the person who's instigating everything. Marcus was a D-bag the entire time. Marcus was unbelievably racist with the Asian cab driver. So we jump back another scene. They haven't made it to the rectum yet, right? So they're actually, they stole his cab. So this past scene was the stolen cab. And then they jump back one more scene and they're in a cab. And they're calling this guy a lot. Well, Marcus.
Yeah, Pierre's trying to calm him down. He's like pretty much telling him to stop.
Yeah, Pierre's trying to be a nice dude. Marcus is calling this guy every racist slur you could think of.
I think at one point
person.
He's like saying, you're sick, stop, Marcus.
Right, exactly. And that was terribly hard to watch. And then he assaults the driver, and then he commits Grand Theft Auto and steals the cab driver's cab. There's a line that's said at this point by Pierre, man, stop this fucking B-movie revenge crap. So that was interesting. Yeah, that was interesting. An interesting line. Obviously, Marcus is extremely unstable. And then, okay, so we jump back another scene. Okay. And this is where the two guys are trying to help them find Concha. That's the ID that they found, which turns out to be a trans individual who's also a prostitute. And they find Concha, and it's so assaultive on this, like, it's like a trans community of people where they find them. It's a bunch of trans prostitutes. Well, they end up attacking Marcus. Exposes her genitals. So that was a lot. And so that whole scene was extremely chaotic. But Concha then tells Marcus and Pierre and these two dudes where they're going to find Latinia. So that's that bit. Okay, so I wrote here, who the fuck are these PIs, right? Because I thought they were private investigators, the way that they were presenting themselves. They were just hanging around the crime scene.
Yeah, and they said that they've killed another rapist before, like that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so they explain who they are a little bit more before, in like another scene ahead, which is obviously going back in time. But I didn't know, why are they just hanging out? Like, why are they just there? Well, it turns out they were at the party as well. You find that out later. But, they're specifically telling Marcus, the cops aren't going to do anything. They're never going to get you the justice you deserve. We can help you get justice, right? And then they show Alex after her attack. So her face is destroyed. She looks like she went through a meat grinder at this point. So you're getting close to something really bad. And my notes start to get much more sparse here because we go into Sorry. Yeah, I'll read them exactly as I wrote them. I will. And I didn't mean to be mean, but I was like,
I'm
what
just
the
kidding. I know.
fuck, bro? Yeah. So, okay. Alex walks out of the party. She's leaving. You can tell she's kind of frustrated. And she walks to a crosswalk and she's looking kind of for a taxi. She says taxi. Nobody comes. And there's just some random woman on the street who says, hey, there's an underpass right there. It might be easier.
I thought they were mostly sex workers. That's why I was guessing why she didn't get a taxi. I think they probably thought she was like a sex worker.
Could be. I don't know. I didn't take that at face value. There was a woman who was there, standing there, and she said, you might want to cross. There's an underpass. So it was someone's random suggestion. Go, use the underpass, go to the other side. You might, find an easier ride home, I guess. We then have the Noe descent into hell shot, which looks very much like the shot he would use walking down the hallway in Climax into a red room. The underpass is completely red. It's a red hallway. Okay, and this is where I wrote, it's the other guy, ? They didn't kill the right one. Yes, that's correct. So they didn't kill the right guy at the end. They killed somebody else. My next note is it's only a movie. It's only a movie. Yeah, it's only a movie. It's only a movie. Okay, so a couple production notes, or just like a production note. Monica Bellucci did direct this scene herself. So she was the one who made all the decisions about how this was going to play out. And it is 9 minutes long, continuous. Mm-hmm. That is what we're watching.
And Latinia is saying the most vulgar, disgusting, disturbing things too.
Yeah. So she is anally raped for 9 minutes straight, roughly, and beaten. And the next note that I wrote is, God damn the asshole who sees and leaves. So as this is all playing out and these terrible acts are happening, if you look in the background, there's a man who walks down into the hallway, sees what's happening, and immediately turns around and leaves, and decides not to use the underpass. Don't ever be that guy. I feel like the kind of people who listen to the show are people who are good people, right? And I feel like if you are listening to the show and you ever had the inclination that you should walk away from a scenario where it looks like someone's in danger, pull it the fuck together and call somebody, help, fucking go stab somebody in the neck. Like, I don't know, man. Be better. Just be better. That was maybe the hardest scene I've ever watched in my life, and that added right into it. I wrote, next, this is unbelievably wrong. Her hand, as she's reaching out to the camera the best she can to try to get away. My next note's, fuck you, Mike, for making me watch this. The punches to the face and the head slamming. Fuck you, Mike, for making me watch this is another note here.
That's kind of funny that you wrote that.
Yeah, twice. So some of the things that he said to her during this interaction, I will never repeat on the show, but there is one set of lines which I will bring up here, which is a lot of goddamn you rich assholes. So this man is taking out his frustrations on the world and on his position in life on this poor woman who just happened to encounter him before he was about to probably do the same thing to a trans sex worker. So, yes, this person who's not rich, she's just dressed up nice for a party, is attacked and projected on by a man who is so insecure in his position in life, he felt it necessary to rape and nearly beat her to death, projecting his feelings towards upper class individuals when she's not even an upper class individual. She's just a middle class, regular old person who happens to be dressed nice. So, yeah, a lot of this, it's just hard. This is just hard to talk about. But okay, let's move out of this section.
You're finally getting out of this section, so I think it'll get better.
Yeah. Well, it's not going to get better, but
You know what I mean.
yeah. So I put, damn, Marcus was cheating on her right before she was attacked. So Marcus was doing drugs. Marcus was doing coke, and Marcus was kissing other women and just doing whatever he fucking wanted at this party. I did right here. Marcus looks like the guy from Coldplay at this point.
I do think
some reason
Vincent Cassel did look like him at that point.
Yeah, at that age,
Yeah.
he did. So that was just a random note. And I put, oh my God, she left the party because of Marcus. So yes, Marcus's actions caused Alex to want to leave the party early by herself. And neither of them went with her. I mean, even at her, if you have a friend who's drunk or you have a friend who's at a party and that person's frustrated and they want to leave, there's absolutely no reason that you shouldn't go with them. If you've angered them and they want to be left alone, leave with them and make sure they're not alone and they get to where they're supposed. Let me get you into a cab at least. I know you hate me. Can I please make sure you get into a cab? Can I please make sure you get into your front door? I won't talk to you anymore. Don't let people go in these scenarios, man. Be better. Okay. Yes. So Pierre is obviously still in love with Alex, and he's the one who really does get her quote unquote justice. At least he might think that he does. More so, he saved Marcus's ass, literally. But Pierre, you could tell Pierre really loved Alex in a different way than Marcus, who was kind of more physically infatuated with her, and they had more of like a physical fling. At least that's what I thought. And I did say what a weird relationship and conversation set that all three of them were having. It was very odd. The conversations that they're having are wild, and they're having them very in a very loud manner around a bunch of people in the subway. So like, I
do have a question for your next note, but I'll let you finish what you're saying. Sorry.
Oh yeah, sure. So so they're talking about like why couldn't you orgasm with me? Like, oh, why can you orgasm with him? What makes the fuck better with him? Like, what is it? And they're going on and on just around all these people in the subway, like not giving a shit, just talking about everybody fucking each other. It's very weird. Okay, so my next note, and you can ask me the question here. I had a dream. This is a quote. I had a dream. It was weird. I was in a tunnel. It was all red, and I put fuck. Goddamn. Okay, what was your question?
Do you think that was a nightmare? The whole movie.
Whose nightmare?
Hers.
I don't know. I don't
because like
think
that
so.
line kind of made me feel like it was all just like a horrible nightmare, and then like everything after was just like after that.
Yeah, I don't know. It could have multiple meanings, right? Because in my head at first, I'm like, shit, that's the tunnel she goes into.
Mm-hmm.
But she's obviously, her next line is, I'm late to get my period. So it could be that, which would mean she's having the dream of being a baby in a tunnel. It was all red, like being birthed. And I feel like Noe would probably relate it back to that. And then he could also call, like, if you think about like a filmmaker who tries to get really deep in their own thoughts or what their philosophies are, could you see Alex's experience in the tunnel as a rebirth? Maybe, but he didn't continue with her story after that, so you don't know. She didn't die. She's in the hospital, right? I don't know.
Also,
there's a lot of interpretation to be had.
The poster you put your note down for too, it had a fetus on it from 2001 Space Odyssey. So I was thinking maybe the whole ultimate trip thing was just like a dream. Yeah,
could be. I don't know. I'm not relating it to a dream, and I'm not going to let myself out of it and say, okay, it was just a dream. Like, I'm not, because that gives the viewer an easy way to stop feeling
almost like coping
about the reality of what you just watched. So I'm not going to allow myself to go down that potential. I'm going to say that there are a lot of messages in this, but I don't see them as it's a nightmare. I think that reality is a nightmare, and her reality is a nightmare for sure. Okay, so smoke. I wrote down smoking cigarettes and eating apples. So before they're in their apartment before they go out, and dude's lighting up a cigarette and literally just eating an apple and smoking a cigarette, and that's just a weird thing. I don't know. It's just a weird decision
They're
for
French.
Noe to make, but whatever. The French smoking cigarettes and eating apples since 1885, or way before that. I don't know. And I wrote down she's fucking pregnant. God damn. So she took a pregnancy test. It does show that she's pregnant. And then they show the poster of the 2001 A Space Odyssey, which is the quote is the ultimate trip. So you
have to cover
if
that
you
movie
are
soon.
if you're going in the correct order, you're about to go on quite the trip. That's kind of how I took that, right? So like, yes, this has been the ultimate trip in reverse. And if you play it the right way or in the correct order, you're about to go on the ultimate trip. And then I did put, bro wants me to puke with all this goddamn spinning. So the last scene is, in a park. You're watching Monica Bellucci read a book, and it's a shot above, maybe a drone shot, something like that. And the camera starts to spin and spin and spin and spin and go faster and faster and faster and faster. And it just doesn't stop. And then I put here, because we cut to the end, cut to black almost. And he puts up his quote. It was a quick note I wrote down. Without the justice and order, which wasn't even real justice, things do feel undone. Like I'm left with a hole that cannot be filled. In reverse order, I cannot be satisfied with the ending. Even if it was maybe if Latinia had been the one who did die, I would feel more justified. But in reverse order, even if it was Latinia, I think I would still have a hole that wasn't filled with the finality of the justice that was served. Okay. And then my very last note, let's kill all the people with epilepsy real quick, okay? Like, what the fuck, bro? Like that flashing, he did a strobe light, an insane strobe. And my whole dark ass living room was like, and I was like, so fuck all the way off, Gaspar Noe, all the way off with that one. Okay. That's all I got. Any final notes from you on the plot, my friend?
Nope.
You're like, I'm done with this movie.
I'm not done with the movie. It's just like, I don't know what else to say what we haven't said.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
This is like a one-time watch, maybe not ever watching movie.
Yeah, for sure. That's up to you guys. But if you haven't watched it and you're on the fence about SA or any wanting to see, not wanting to, having to watch any kind of SA bigotry, any of that, I would avoid this. But if you want to have it in your mental registry forever and be fully fucked over by this movie, then press play, friends. Okay, so you know what? I never told anybody to press play. That's because we're not watching it in this store. God damn it. No, we're not pressing play today. Okay, so some production notes. All right, so Irreversible was originally titled as Danger. Gaspar Noe first found financing for the new film after he pitched the story to be told in reverse in order to capitalize on the popularity of Christopher Nolan's film Memento from 2000. Irreversible was shot using a widescreen, lightweight Minima Super 16mm camera. The film consists of about a dozen apparently unbroken shots melded together from hundreds of shots. This includes the infamous 9-minute long rape scene portrayed in a single unbroken shot. Noe said he had no idea how long the rape scene was going to last, as this was all determined by Monica Bellucci, who essentially directed the scene, and Joe Prestia, who played her assailant. Noe stated in interviews that during the production of the film, he used cocaine in order to help him carry the large cameras needed to capture the rotating shots in the film. Interesting. Computer-generated imagery was used in post-production for the penis and the rape scene. Another example is the scene where Pierre beats a man's face and crushes his skull with a fire extinguisher. CGI was used to augment the results as his initial footage Using a conventional latex dummy proved unconvincing. During the first 60 minutes of its running time, the film uses an extremely low-frequency sound of 27 hertz to create a state of nausea and anxiety in the audience. Interesting. As it is not immediately perceptible to the spectator, but enough to evoke a physical response. Quoting Noe, "You can't hear them, but they make you shiver. A good cinema with a good audio system, the sound can scare you much more than what's happening on screen." This technique, called Cinsurround, involves the intentional use of a sub-audible sound to enhance the spectator's experience of a movie, and in this case, deliberately making them uncomfortable, although this would only be experienced in a cinema setting unless you have a very good home set of speakers which can emit low frequencies, which I think you do.
Yeah.
All right. So just a quick note on the reception. So audience reactions to both the rape scene and the murder scene have ranged from appreciation of their artistic merits to leaving the theater in absolute disgust. Newsweek's David Anson stated that, quote, "If outraged viewers, mostly women, are any indication, this will be the most walked out of movie of 2003, end quote." In the same review, Anson suggested that the film displayed, quote, "an adolescent pride in its own ugliness," end quote. All right. All right, Mikey, you're up, bud. So box office and release notes.
Okay. The film premiered in France on May 22nd, 2002 through Mars Distribution. It competed at 2002 Cannes Film Festival. It was released in the UK on January 31st, 2003 through Metro Tartan Distribution, the United States on March 7th, 2003 through Lionsgate Films. Irreversible won a top award, the Bronze Horse from Best Film at 2002 Stockholm International Film Festival. It was nominated for Best Foreign Language Award at the Film Critics Circle of Australia. It was voted Best Foreign Language Film by San Diego Film Critics Society, tied with The Barbarian Invasions. Never seen that movie, have you?
No, me either.
Okay. The film and the movie told in chronological order: Irreversible Straight Cut, French Irreversible Inversion Integre?
Integrale? I don't know.
I guess. It's French.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Screened at the 2019 Venice International Film Festival. It was released in Los Angeles and New York City on February 10th, 2023.
Wonderful. So, okay, really quick, friends, before we jump into our reviews from IMDb. Typically, these are our Harambe reviews, and in a joking manner, we put down our reviewers. This week, just because neither of us are down for that, we are not going to be putting down anyone or pulling out the shotgun today. So Mikey is going to read us one positive, if possible, and one negative, and then we're going to move on into our final thoughts.
I'll start with the negative one from 2007, saying this movie is awful. I've never been so disappointed in a movie in my life. It is wretched and pointless, tells a story we can all see on the news. The man who raped the woman is not the man who got his face bashed in. It's just horrible. Watching the film gives you an epileptic seizure. The worst movie ever made, Memento, was what? Oh, it's calling it the worst. Sorry, I kind of read that as one sentence. The worst movie ever made. Memento was better for its reverse storytelling and fact that there was an actual intriguing story, not simply revenge gone wrong. The nude scenes of penises were ridiculous, perpetrating the gay myth. Not all gay people go to dungeons and ask strangers to fist them. I think there is something wrong with this director and anyone who puts money on this film, and what a horrible role for Monica Bellucci.
So alrighty. Well,
I agree with
you're not wrong, friend.
Parts of that I agree with.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's like a paragraph. Brilliant. That's the title of it, and it's from 2003. I'm very surprised by seeing all the negative complaints towards this film, like I Spit on Your Grave or I Stand Alone. Irreversible is only rubbish to those who don't understand and don't want to understand. Gareth Noe is telling a story about love and revenge. A pregnant young woman outstanding Monica Bellucci is violently essayed and tortured in an underground passage. Her boyfriend, Vincent Castle, let's call him Vincent Castle,
Marcus.
yeah, tries to find her rapist to kill him. The infamous scene is truly brutal, sickening. At least the film cannot be accused of eroticism or reveling in the rape. Like mainstream movies, it's just pretty much just like applauding it, saying it's like groundbreaking and mind breaking and that kind of stuff. I don't want to go more into it, but
no, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it. I think I'm gonna. Okay, I think.
Yeah, this is our.
I think I Spit on Your Grave is a better movie than this, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And I think that comparing those two films are widely very different, and I think it's weird to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you picking out a couple of reviews and reading reviews about this film that was just so hard to talk about anyway and to watch, but we did it. So we're going to move into our final thoughts. I would, if you can, go ahead and whatever final thoughts you have. I know you were just kind of like saying some right there, but just whatever wrap up notes you have on this film.
I mean, I think it's one of the most fucked up movies I've ever seen. I think this, or maybe like as we were talking about before the show, like Tumbling Doll of Flesh, either of them are possibly the not worst movies I've ever seen, just most screwed up. I think it's ridiculous that the way they treated the queer characters in this movie with like the stereotype of them being predators.
Yep.
I thought it was messed up how they focused 9 minutes of that to the actual rape, and I think it was kind of ridiculous that I don't know how other way. I don't know. I just think I'm kind of taken aback by this movie, and I kind of sort of regret like doing this episode.
Yeah, no. Okay. I don't think we should regret doing this, but I think that we should know that there are movies out there like this, right?
That really affect
you. Right. I feel that there are some movies that affect me on like a visceral level, such as, and I have a paragraph, I'll read it in a minute. There are some films that affect me on a visceral level based on morals. There's like Martyrs. I had a visceral reaction to Martyrs based on the morality play of Christianity, Catholicism, whatever. If you go back and you listen to our double feature, right, a long time ago, Faces of Death, I had a visceral reaction to because of the irresponsibility of the filmmakers at the end telling you that but the ghost world exists. So after you've told me all of these important things that we need to change to make the world better, and look how this is
especially
killing
that
so
they
many
showed
animals.
Like a real suicide in that movie.
Correct. There was so much that made me have a visceral reaction to the filmmakers' irresponsibility at the end of the film. How could they do this? But Irreversible, let me read my paragraph. All right. So here's what I wrote. To be completely honest, I still cannot quite comprehend my feelings about Irreversible. The narrative is so dark and the subject matter is so heavy that I'm having trouble processing everything that happened. Of course, there is the glaring, obvious elephant in the room of the 9-minute unbroken continuous shot of the rape of Bellucci. But there are so many quick to pass lines, comments, actions that are so horrendous in themselves. From the father in the beginning of the film talking about assaulting his own daughter to the language used about and interactions with the queer, gay, and trans individuals in the film. Noe's last line in the film was, quote, "Time destroys everything." And that may be true in a naturalistic sense, but in this film, it is not time that's doing the destroying, it is the people. We are the destroyers, even those of us who turn around and walk away without acknowledging what is happening. Don't blame time, blame yourself. I would change that line to, quote, "People destroy everything with enough time," end quote. Again, I'm not sure where I am in my process of coping with this film. It made me think about the horrors that are enacted on women and the others, quote unquote, of the society. But was the message concise enough, or was it just torture porn? Where were the calls for action? That's another question I had. Where were the resources for those to help or those who need help? They didn't exist. So to be honest, I'm never going to watch this film again, and I will never recommend it to anyone. Despite whatever tape rating may be in my head, I'm not going to tell you. It's not for me to rate. I think there was opportunity here that was missed. I think the subject matter is real, but I don't think that it was played out in a way that could help anyone be better at any time. So that's all I got. Friends, let's get the fuck out of this ridiculous, irreversible episode. All right. That's all we got. We've already sent you home with your movies from earlier. If you stuck around with us this long, we appreciate you. Thanks for being a listener. And for those of you who, didn't stick around, you probably won't ever hear this, but we appreciate you too, and we understand. So,
and we're so excited to do the collaboration with Mutant City Horror next week.
Yep, it'll be a lot of fun and a nice brain cleanser. So, again, don't forget, come on the podcast if you have a project that you want to promote. You can shoot us an email at vhsdoom@gmail.com, and we're going to see you guys next time when we have a much lighter episode for you. Mm-hmm. Peace and love.
Now Dylan disappeared. This is dead air. If you hear anything, they're doing work on my apartment. They just showed up and they're like doing stuff on the roof now. So,
oh, nice. So we're gonna hear like bang, bang, bang.
Yeah,
which is kind of fitting. It's kind of fitting for this episode, anyway, right?
You hear that? The guy's putting a ladder against the house.
Yeah, tell him to shut the fuck up.
Push him off.
See if he tries to fight. See if he tries to fight you.
Open the window.
Don't push him off. God damn it! Hey, go out there and be like, "Hey, Scabby wants you to come on the roof and see what."
Well, he's already on the roof. I can see him.
Oh, nice. You can see him. Can you show me? Take his picture. Hello, sir. How are you? All right, friends.
Yeah, we had a leak in our ceiling, and there was a hole in our ceiling, so he's fixing it. That's the hole that Sammy said that Santa's coming through. During Christmas, Sammy kept saying that Santa stepped through or something. I don't know what he said.
He's going to come through the hole.
I don't know. He said Santa broke the ceiling. That's what he did.
Nice.
He cracked the ceiling. Awesome. That's when he kept saying things were cracked instead of broken.
Santa's like, God damn it, where's your fucking chimney? Smash! Oh, Christ. That's fun, man. That's fun.